So you've probably seen this guy floating around the internet. You know, the big, kind of fuzzy creature with those huge red eyes. He's almost cute, right? He's become a meme, they make plushies of him. He's a whole pop culture thing. But let me tell you, the real story of the Mothman, it's not some fun internet mystery. It's a story of pure, genuine terror, a devastating tragedy, and a very dark history that some people would probably rather we all forget. Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off right away. Over here on the left, that's the Mothman you know, the internet's Mothman. But on the right, that's what the very first witnesses actually said they saw back in 1966. They never said anything about a moth. They described a man-sized, bird-like creature whose head looked like it was tucked down into its chest, with these terrifying, glowing red eyes. This wasn't some fuzzy internet friend. This was a nightmare. To really get this, we have to go back in time. We're headed to Point Pleasant, West Virginia. For one terrifying year, from 1966 to 67, this quiet little Appalachian town, well, it became ground zero for a wave of paranormal chaos that would change it forever. It all started kind of quietly. On November 12th, a couple of gravediggers saw what they called a brown human being just fly over their heads. But 3 days later, the story blew up. Two young couples were absolutely terrorized by something near an old abandoned munitions plant, what everyone called the TNT site. And after that, the floodgates just opened. We're talking over 100 separate reports from all kinds of people in just over a year. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The people from that TNT plant sighting, they jumped in their car and fled, absolutely flooring it. This thing, it didn't just chase them, it paced them. It just glided right alongside them over their car without even flapping its wings. What kind of owl or crane can do that? This was something else entirely. And here's where it gets really weird. It wasn't just this giant bird creature. Oh no. The whole town was plunged into what paranormal researchers call high strangeness. People started seeing UFOs almost every night. They'd get these bizarre phone calls with weird metallic sounding voices. And then the men in black showed up. These creepy, intimidating guys who would tell people to stop talking about what they saw. TVs would go haywire. Things would move by themselves in people's houses. The town was basically under paranormal siege. So you have this winged monster, UFOs, shadowy figures, poltergeists. I mean, the entire town is on edge for a solid year. You just know something's about to break. It was all building towards something. The question is, what? And then, it all came crashing down. Literally. This is the moment a creepy local monster story became forever sealed in tragedy. The moment it became an omen for a horrifying national disaster. Okay, so picture this. It's December 15th, 1967. 5 o'clock in the evening, rush hour. It's just 10 days before Christmas. The Silver Bridge, this major lifeline connecting West Virginia and Ohio, is absolutely jammed with cars. People are heading home from work, doing some last-minute shopping, just a totally normal evening. And then, without any warning, the bridge just buckled. A single tiny piece of metal in the suspension chain failed, and in less than a minute, the entire structure plunged into the icy Ohio River. 46 people, gone. And here is the absolute kicker, the detail that burns this story into your brain forever. The moment the bridge collapsed, everything stopped. The Mothman sightings, gone. The UFOs, vanished. The men in black, disappeared. It was just over. As if its job, whatever it was done. And that's how it earned its terrifying reputation, a harbinger of pure disaster. But hold on, a structural failure, a flaw in an eye bar, that's a horrible real-world tragedy, but it doesn't explain a winged monster, right? It doesn't explain the UFOs or any of the other weirdness. So that leaves the biggest question of all. Why here? Why Point Pleasant? To answer that, we have to dig deeper, way deeper, into the history buried right under the town itself. This quote right here is the key to the whole thing. We're shifting gears now. We're not just ghost hunting anymore. We're looking at the Mothman as a cultural fossil. Because legends this powerful, they don't just pop up out of thin air. They grow out of something. They're built on the hidden fears and the forgotten stories of a place. Okay, so there's this really powerful idea from the research called paranormal settler heritage. Now, I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but the concept is actually pretty simple. It's the idea that sometimes when a place has a really brutal, violent history, it's just easier to invent a ghost story than it is to face the facts. A spooky monster is a lot less uncomfortable to talk about than a real-life massacre, right? And in Point Pleasant, this brings us to the tragic and very real story of a Shawnee leader named Hokulesqua, known to settlers as Cornstalk. He was trying to keep the peace. In 1777, he went to the American fort there under a flag of truce to warn them about potential attacks. And what did they do? They took him hostage and then murdered him in cold blood. It wasn't until decades later that someone completely made up a story that as he died, he cursed the land. A curse he never, ever actually uttered. And once that totally fake curse story was out there, wow, it became the go-to explanation for everything bad that ever happened. A town fire? Must be the curse. A bad flood? Definitely the curse. A train derailment? The curse again. And yeah, you guessed it, when the Silver Bridge collapsed in 1967, that became the ultimate horrifying proof that the curse was real. And that is how it all ties together. You see, the Mothman legend didn't just appear out of nowhere in 1966. It latched onto this much older, totally fabricated curse. The monster became this spooky new face for a very old story. A story that was originally designed to cover up the ugly truth of a murder. So, the story has these deep, dark roots in both the 18th and 20th centuries. But that still doesn't explain why we are all so obsessed with it today. Why is this creature from a small Appalachian town a global superstar in the age of true weird podcasts and internet deep dives? Well, it's because the Mothman is basically the perfect monster for our time. The whole story is like a perfect storm of modern anxieties. Think about it. The bridge collapse. That hits our fear of failing infrastructure right on the nose. The Men in Black. That speaks to our deep distrust of shadowy authorities. The creepy old TNT site. That's our collective anxiety about environmental disaster. And the entire legend is about that horrible feeling of being completely powerless when tragedy strikes. It's kind of weird to think about, but in a world that feels so chaotic and unpredictable, a story like this can almost be comforting. I know, it sounds crazy, but it gives a face, these big red eyes, to all that free-floating fear we have about things we just can't control. It gives our anxieties a narrative. So ultimately, maybe we've been looking at this whole thing backward. What if the Mothman isn't the monster? What if it's just a mirror? A really dark, creepy mirror, reflecting back at us the tragedies we create ourselves, from historical violence to bridges we failed to maintain. What if the most terrifying monster in this story has been us all along? The Mothman story is just one heck of an example of how folklore reflects our deepest fears. But every country has its own. So what country's folklore should we dive into next? Drop your ideas in the comments below. I'd seriously love to see what you're curious about. And hey, if you have that one friend who thinks Mothman is just a cute, fluffy meme, do them a favor and share this explainer with them. We're always digging into stories like this, so make sure to hit subscribe. And if you really appreciate folklore analysis that goes beyond just the surface level scares, ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss what's next. Thanks for sticking with me on this one.